Alright, hello YouTube. We're back with another game review. This one is for Mr. Eteria and MKRY, who still hasn't told me how to pronounce his name properly. And um, this is from the Nova Cup, and they're facing For Fun Player and 5577. And as I don't have so much time today, I'll try to go through things a little bit more quick. I hope I don't mess up too much and it's still sort of understandable what I mean. Okay, so first of all, if I was in Eteria's place and MKRY's place, I would not pick Aristocrat Stash because I know that For Fun Player is like 99% Fiesta player. And if he doesn't have Fiesta, he kind of sucks. So I'm very confident that I will beat him. Of course, this comes from a much higher elo kind of player. But still, I would prefer to pick masterminds that have much more early game potential rather than late game potential, because this really opens you up for a rough early game. And I don't like to be behind in the early game and feel like I have to do an uphill battle the entire game and then they can coin flip me and there's nothing I can do about it. Okay, but anyway, we picked Aristocrat, teammate picked Stash. As I do this one mostly for Eteria, let's talk about Eteria's role. This is his initial role. And looking at this, I would probably do the same. You can make an argument that going into an Avenger, say with Ranger or something, is also a decent option, as it gives you more push early on, which is more beneficial into the Fiesta player. But I think in a vacuum, this is probably the best role you can pick with Aristocrat if you don't know more about your opponent. But in this case, I specifically wanted to include this as a Nova Cup. You can scout your opponents. You can quickly check what are they doing, and I think For Fun Player is like a 99% Fiesta picker. And if you know that, you probably don't end up picking a Aristocrat. All right. Um, so the game starts. We are saving on one, which is probably correct if we're two workers and going into an egg. We don't want the Fiesta player to Giga snowball away. We just, by the way, 5 worker gate guard opening with Stash when you're getting Fiesta Sense with no option for wave 2 is very, very risky, and I would not do this. I would do something else. I would pick your start with Yozora or whatever, but not gate guard, as this guy, For Fun Player, like if I am in his spot and I get saved on one, I do not give a shit. I push to 6 workers and I send 60 on wave 2 into this guy. I accept my 100% leak. I say, teammate, cover me. I don't give a shit. And then I get a gazillion Mythium. I scale like crazy and I leak this guy who can potentially not even recover ever. And the game is flat out over on wave 2. So you're really opening yourself up for disaster here. All right, anyway, we leak to a single snail. We leak, right? Imagine if this was 40. He definitely had 40. He probably even had 6. I mean, he didn't have 60 because he added another pixie, but he definitely had 40. So, you're very lucky. Anyway, we egg and we push. I really think it's correct to sack the egg because we need workers into Pixie Fiesta. Else we can just FF the game. And then we push 6 workers. This is good. Teammate gets brooted. Yeah, nothing he can do. I like that we just income here, by the way, as he has shown that he's going to be strong. But at this point, I would probably look at their builds and I would be like, okay, this is Nova Cup. Sure, Eteria is weak on 7, but MKRY is strong on 7. Let's force wave 7. I would make this call at this point and start saving for wave 7. Like 260 into For Fun Player, 200 into 5577. Bam, bam, 90% king damage, finish game on 11 or 10. Just whack them. They have shown on wave 3 that they will both be extremely weak on wave 7. And this also does not allow For Fun Player to really abuse his Fiesta if we go for this. Our egg gives us enough power spike that we can make it there. This is what I would have preferred in this spot. Anyway, we income. Yeah, whether you income here or you go full, don't think anything is really like stronger. I don't necessarily love the Lizard into the Pota. It really gives him a free push into teammate, and DT is almost always stronger against this kind of Pota build that you see here. Just because the wave is already dealing a lot of damage to the Pota, he will protect it enough with his split, and he will add something here. So you just want to make sure that Pota deals less damage to the wave. And here's another issue with our build. Like, we've added a veteran, we've leaked to a brute, okay, whatever. But now pushing for us is very hard because we still suck on wave 4. And with a gazillion veterans and peewees, it's also hard for us to hold wave 5. So we've kind of already put ourselves into a hard spot with a zero income mastermind, so we can't just cover our weak waves by value, but we also can't really push, so it's kinda eh. Right, Eteria adds the Harpy. I think he specifically does this because his teammate is weak here. Completely fine. You could also play for a long wave, but it's probably not worth it given that enemy team has more workers. And then wave 5 comes. I think adding this Infiltrator is absolutely correct. I don't think we should income king here. I think this is the latest point at which we should start saving, especially since Eteria is saving into for fun player. And this king up really doesn't do much, and the Fiend gives us one more Peewee. We already have 4 Peewees and a veteran. This Peewee does essentially nothing for us. Whereas having 80 more Mythium for next wave would be a huge change in Mythium thresholds. And also, if you build a Sea Dragon for wave 5, build it properly. And by building it properly, I mean the following thing. Let's quickly hop into game. Yeah, I've already... Right. I want to show a few things. By building properly, I mean making sure that Mr. Sea Dragon is tanking the boss. And now we brute snail, same sentence in game. Sea Dragon will tank the boss, but only the boss, and it will survive because we have enough damage behind it with one veteran and one gate guard. And this is what makes Sea Dragon super fucking strong on wave 5. The game is lagging a little bit, yeah, German internet, and it still gets out a million heals. And this guy still gets one more summon, I think. No, he doesn't. Okay, this is a 42% leak. I tested this earlier, then it was a 33% leak. This is significantly better compared to in-game, where we leaked like 60%. All right. And then, again, we income kinged here. I don't think this is the correct choice. You see that this guy is a lot under on wave 4. Teammate is saving, and you will have pressure for wave 6 or wave 7, whatever you decide to go for. Eteria decides to go mimic Robo here, and I think if there's a 200 send on wave 6 coming, you should also full into this guy. Sure, he doesn't look awful on wave 6, but really, like, he's 410 value. I think if he gets bruted, he probably leaks small or is like covering less. Let's have a quick check. Mythium 20. I think you should really, at this point, you should really commit. Your teammate is saving up 200 Mythium. You're really trying to get king damage done here. Yeah, he managed to make his Pota a non-tanking Pota with his positioning. You probably saw that already on wave 4. And yes, he's probably even killing this creep, right? But he is not gonna hold. And I don't know exactly how well this held in game, but I think leaking versus like maybe covering a little bit probably makes a big difference here. I'm not entirely sure, of course. I haven't really tested this so much as I don't have so much time, but anyway. I would have much preferred a full, and I would definitely have preferred Teal to skip here to go together on wave 6, or even better, go together on wave 7. Because again, look at this, he's 575 value, We're not under threat on wave 6. We're not under threat on wave 6. On wave 7, teal can cover. Why are we not trying? They don't have king ups. Why are we not trying to just one-shot them on 7? Yeah, I think we should really make sure. Like, in Nova Cup, game is much more tactical. You have to play tactically from wave 1 onwards. And especially when you're picking slower mastermind starts, you have to make sure that you use tactics to sort of keep up with enemy workers and income, or at least inflict king damage. So you deal 50% king damage, 56% even. So even though, in my opinion, you made quote-unquote bad choices, you still managed to be in a decent spot at this point. Yeah, look at income workers. Okay, teal is a little bit behind, but it's not horrendous. Wave 7 hits. They go full for God knows what reason after taking king damage. Horrible play. We hold. This gives us, on teal, this gives us really um, a good boost back into the game. For Eteria, I want to show something that I would have done differently here. It doesn't make a huge difference in this specific case, but I think in general this is something that you should always consider doing. And it's not putting your Avenger here, but putting your Avenger here. This will make sure that it sort of split tanks with the Hydra. The Hydra will still take the brunt of the force, and this Infiltrator will most likely tank whatever comes from the Hydra, so the Avenger can just split tank and really utilize its HP more efficiently. I think we got Pack Robo. Let's quickly have a look, because in-game it was 80%, and this will probably be something like 68% or whatever, because we never killed the pack leader. And it's a bit of RNG, but as you can see, the Hydra Links tanked before the Avenger. Now the Avenger is popping off. And with this popping, we're really essentially, we're not killing this one, we're dealing more damage to the pack leader. With this specific send, it's very hard to get a better outcome percentage-wise, but I think in general, you should always build more like this, as this gives you a bit more aggro share, and you kind of want the Avenger to off-tank early on anyway. And it doesn't really compromise your build for later on, as the Avenger, even, like, this is also 4-eye protected and everything. So I think this construction is just more sturdy in general. And you don't lose anything by this. Okay, quickly back into the browser. Okay, now. Kings are low HP. There's one aggressive spell in the game. We have to start thinking about strategy. Like, what do we want to do? How do we want to approach this? And there's one option that we have, which is wave 9 looks kind of appealing against them, but blue is already 780 value, red is 740 value. And if we go wave 9 and it doesn't work, this will end the game. Because then, if they skipped, right, they have free choice to go as long as they want, pick Robo Army, and we're on 65% king. We will not be able to hold their send. So at this point, if we want to go wave 9, we have to make sure that we can leak them there, and we can leak them there big. But what's happening is, okay, on blue, on teal, we're full pushing, which is correct. Eteria is adding an Infiltrator, and now we're seeing he's on 1000 value. This is plus 150, and he's, I think, like minus 50 or something, yeah? And this should really tell us we should not go here. Like, even though we pushed a little bit, this tells us we can never do lethal damage on wave 9, and if we go full and don't get lethal damage, game is over. There will be Robo Army, they will skip, and we're fucked. We have to realize that at this point, the game is very, very much on a knife's edge, and any tipping towards one side will just cause the game to fall down and be irrecoverable. Specifically because there are no defensive spells in the game, really. Like Hero, kind of, but it's not really super defensive, like Lone or whatever. And there's an aggressive spell in the game, no king ups. Kings are like reasonably low HP. So you have to be extremely careful here. And then we decide to go full, we even leak for fun player, but unfortunately, this guy is not leaking on red, and with this, we are kind of fucked. I think when you see the values here, you just have to skip wave 9. And I also don't think like we're taking a big risk by skipping wave 9. Because realistically, blue, if he actually pushed, he is going to leak on wave 10 as well. There's no way he's not leaking wave 10. Red is a lot weaker. Not a lot weaker, but we know the Shadow Dance. He has Shadow Dancer. He has one Ranger, but he doesn't have good tanks for wave 10. So he's weaker on 10 compared to wave 9. And we are also super strong on wave 9 with our Harbinger here, and we're not super weak with the Hydra. We have Mudman in our role. So we're not worried on wave 9, especially not with 1k value here. So I think it's always a skip. And now that we don't skip, well, we don't really have so much we can do, right? We decide to income resend, and I think, like, honestly, you have one chance here, which is they push too early and you full resend here. Like, full resend, deal like 30%, 40% king damage, get a lot of gold, and then survive. Like, I know clearly you're boosting here, you're kind of expecting a send here, but I don't know. With an aggressive play, I don't think it makes sense for them to ever send on 10. I think they should just play it safe, overbuild, and target wave 12, which ultimately they do. They just pushed a little bit too much. This was like one way to recover the game. Could always skip as well and threaten 11, but really, are you really threatening 11 into this? And with skipping, you have a lot less gold. I don't know. Like, probably skipping is also like, okay, you went for the worst play in my opinion. Income just, I don't think there's a situation where this income send is good. That realistically is going to happen. Of course, if they go full into you on this wave, then yes, income is correct. But I don't think this was really on the cards. Especially not with aggressive spells, no pressure on them, and you being weak on 12. Right, then wave 11 comes, you skip because you expect wave 12, I assume. But if you skip here, why are you hardening on Eteria? I don't know. Like, if you expect them to send here, you have to income king. If you expect them to skip, you should really make sure you, you cover, yeah. Anyway, I don't know. At this point, like, you're stimming on teal as well, and he's stashed for this wave, so you kind of commit that they go here. But if you are sure that they go here, then you should income king. Right? You're committing to holding. It's not like you're gonna, I don't know. Yeah, it's not like you're gonna hold their send and then kill them on a resend attempt. Like, if their send fails, then the game is over in your favor anyway. Okay, and then unfortunately wave 12 comes and you kind of go for a race, which I don't hate. Against red, there's a very little chance, but also you're never living with income king, so I think it's fine to go full. I think we should really commit to trying to hold here as good as possible, and I don't think double bazooka Graal really does anything for us. Oh yeah, right, I should talk about the reroll soon. And I also don't think that on MKRY we should be adding a Berserker and a Harbinger. Like, maybe at this point you think they will 13 you and you're kinda preparing this? I guess that's what you're thinking, but then if you go full, you're committing to killing them here. So if you go full, then you should really... Like, if you really think they go 13 on you in this spot, then you should just full commit to it. Like, you're behind, right? They are ahead. They are probably on maybe they're not on fire, but like you're under massive pressure. You know at this point that next send will decide the game, and if you decide, okay, at this point we think they will 13 us, then you double push here and you go full here and you try to undercut and kill them. Like you've sort of tried to mix the plays where you kind of go here to undercut full, but you don't build full for this wave. So yeah, I don't think this is really like a quote-unquote good mixed play. I think at this point where you've given them all the freedom to do whatever they want, where you clearly will be in trouble if they send, you should just commit to one line where you think you can win. Or like, okay, you just have to commit, okay, we think they will do X, which is go full on 13. And then you will have to 100% be confident that this is what's going to happen and 100% commit to try to win against that specific line. If they do something else, you lose. That's fine. But it's the only chance you have. And at this point, with this undercut, you're either... it's if you try to hold, you should go income king here. And full build for this wave, so no Harbinger, no Berserker, no Graal, no double Bazooka. And if you think they go here, then you should income king, put a Mudman here, and harden. And probably get a Starcaller, I guess, but it's kind of rough. The real mistake is allowing this line by going wave 9. So yeah, and on the reroll, this is sort of the final note. We rerolled on wave 10, and we rerolled our Harpy for a Bazooka and Warpwing. I don't hate the Warpwing so much. It doesn't really fit our role super well, and the Bazooka is kind of meh as well. I don't really like that we rerolled Harpy. Sure, we have 3 Harpies and can put them into Sky Queens, and that's probably enough. But it's also our only pierce damage, and it's also why we built up on the lane quite far. So we're kind of committing to a Harpy build, and we're sort of rolling away the soul of our build on wave 10, which I don't necessarily agree with. But ultimately, with how the game went, this is completely inconsequential. So I don't want to spend too much time on this. Okay, so quick summary. Aristocrat into Fiesta. Huge risk on wave 1 with the gate guard opening. Nothing we can do against the Brute. Would have liked DT here, doesn't really matter so much. Build properly on wave 5. If you have Sea Dragon, make sure it's further up so it tanks the boss. It's sure it loses HP for every heal, but it's totally fine if it like takes 80% damage from the boss. This is super beneficial. Do not send here into this guy. They are both weak on 7, and on 6 they are also not amazing. So make sure if you commit for king damage that you both do it. Full resend here. Maybe even consider going 7 together. Put the Avenger here for a little bit better placement, but ultimately in this game it doesn't matter so much. And then at this point, consider your options. Wave 9 is an option. I don't hate you for like quote-unquote going for it. If you go for it, you should probably commit a little harder. But if you see he's plus a lot of value on red, it's not worth it to commit, and you should realize this, and at this point skip and probably go wave 10, because I don't think that they necessarily can skip 10, and if everyone sends 10, the game continues, you have options to play for, it's not a giga all-in, but going for this, you forced yourself into a tactically losing position, and there's not really much that you can do. This income is a minor thing that I would have done differently. And then at this point, you have to commit to trying to defend quote unquote against whatever line you think they do, and you have to 100% commit to it. And if you think it's 12, then you have to probably income king on 12 and really like harden Mudman. And if you at this point think they will 13 you, you have to push and giga commit to the undercut. But it's hard to play, and you kind of got cringed 7 into 12 and you didn't really expect it, so shit happens, especially in Nova with a lot of pressure, so don't be too harsh on yourself and try again next time, and I'm sure you will be doing a lot better. And I hope you could still follow this as I tried to speed through this a little bit.